Welcome, theater addicts. My name is Karen, and I'm about to head into Havana Theater to see East Berlin, presented by Dalliance Theater Collective and written by Hannah Moscovich and directed by Alison Fournier. Hannah is a resident playwright at Tarragon Theatre in Toronto, where this production actually premiered in 2007. I understand she's written a number of plays that have been performed across Canada, and I haven't seen any. However, I did see a production earlier this year by Dalliance called Boy, and I loved it. It was really innovative and emotional, and I'm expecting emotional here as well tonight. Challenging subject matter. It's based in the 70s, and it's a young man who returns home to Paraguay. And it sounds like he's going to be facing his father and his notorious past, as he had fled home years prior when he discovered that his father took part in, well, he was a doctor in Auschwitz. So yeah, I expect some very difficult material as far as, how do you handle or address or feel when someone you love has done something horrific or something you feel is horrific. Whether it's, a crime against humanity or just a crime in general. Maybe it's something that goes against your beliefs. How do you feel about them? How does that make you feel about yourself? Is there guilt that you need to deal with? Is that guilt, whether that guilt is rightfully yours or not, it sometimes can be something that you feel. So I'm really intrigued to see this. Again, a production that's 10 years old, but considering the content, I can't imagine it, being dated in any way. So I'm super intrigued. I hope it's as great as the last production I saw by this company. So I will fill you in. Hey, theater addicts. So I'm back, and you know what? Okay. Before I tell you how it was, let me give you some background. So it's 90 minutes, no intermission. So not too long. But definitely have to sit still for a while, and you want to sit still for a while. The set's pretty basic: a table, a couple chairs, some crates, and a light. The light's used a lot. And there's some warnings. So there's some sexual content, mature content, sensitive content. I kind of alluded to that earlier. And some language, and some brief nudity, kind of. But yeah, definitely sexual content. Probably not for children, older children, teenagers perhaps. So for the story, you've got a young man who, instead of having a direct conflict with his father, is really telling you the story. And during his storytelling, he's going to relive aspects of the discovery. When he realized and found out his father's history, and how he dealt with it, and then later on in life as well. And then he goes in and out of the reenactments and then the storytelling. I don't think I'm doing any spoilers there, really. What it addresses is amazing. So it touches on the history. So, he discovers that his father had a play in Auschwitz. So how's that look? So, they dive into some history for you, and they give you some of the atrocities that happen and depict them quite well. So it is sensitive material. And then the lies or stories or excuses or reasoning that these people sometimes have to tell themselves, as well as their loved ones or the people around them, to basically kind of excuse what they've done. They talk about the research that people do and the research facilities used. What also it talks about that was really unique to me was, as far as the history, is what happened to these people after the war. So they lost the war, and then what happened? Where they would flee to, and how they would flee, and what that looked like, what their life was like. So a lot of really interesting content there. Again, not really dealing with emotional, but just really kind of educational. Then you've got the whole other aspect. So you've got this son telling his story, and he goes through the gamut of emotions. It's more intense than grief. You have the phases of grief. Well, this is phases too. He has denial, and he has, disgust, and then, you've got that internal debate, and and challenge with yourself as to, you love this person, of course you love this person, they raised you, they read you bedtime stories, but they're really a monster, and how do you deal with that? And then part of the rebellion, and you know, how do you get revenge on this person? But is it really revenge against them, or an internal revenge? Is it like a self-torture because you feel somehow responsible or tied, or is that self-doubt and questioning as to, you know, are you this monster? Do you have that same monster blood running through your veins? So much of it, and then, you know, again, running away, and the lies you tell yourself and tell others, and which is worse. Yeah, it's so crazy how much is covered off, and that's why, even though I felt like some of the actors struggled at times, the story itself is still so compelling that it really is a minor aspect. I do think that this is something that everyone should attend, from both the educational aspect and to truly understand the challenges and emotions that people can face. What I said in my preview regarding, you know, how you would deal with someone who, you know, was a criminal or did things against your beliefs. Against your beliefs, yes, but not just any criminal. Like, this is really talking about crimes against humanity. Things that anyone would have a hard time arguing were okay. So it's very different, it's very unique in that aspect. So definitely worthwhile. I do feel that as a storyteller, he was very good and very compelling. But when he regressed to when he was, you know, a young adult or a young teenager, I guess you'd say, an older teenager, he just wasn't as believable to me. I struggled there. And even his classmate or friend, I guess you could say, that character challenged me as well. Is a very unique character. So perhaps that was it. I'm not really sure if it was how it was written or how the actor chose to portray or how the director wanted it portrayed, but I kind of struggled with that character a lot throughout all of the aspects. The third character, female, who plays his fiance, she was great. I loved everything she did. Very compelling, very believable. But she too wasn't having to go in and out of character, so not as challenging. Other thing, just for feedback for the group, two things. The lighting at the beginning, I don't know if that was a miscue, but I don't think the audience really knew things were happening yet because the lighting didn't come down, and so that was distracting, but again, only brief. And the other thing where I was really disappointed is Havana Theater. I've come here so many times, never noticed a distraction, and the restaurant was just so loud. The music was so loud. Luckily, this performance was so great, it drew me in, and it wasn't too big of a deal, but it was noticeable, and it was really unfortunate. It's just not necessary. Maybe it's my first performance on a Friday night. That could have a lot to do with it, but you know, Havana, if you could fix that, that would be really nice. But you know, kudos to the effort that these performers and director put into this. Great material, worth coming to see. Really disappointed in this show, maybe 20 people on a Friday night. Horrible, Vancouver, get out, go see theater, broaden your minds, provide yourself some knowledge, open your hearts, and go check this out. I'm Karen from Theater Addicts, and this was my review of East of Berlin at Havana Theater, presented by Dalliance Theater Collective. And you know, if you did check this out, you know, please give us your comments down below, and check our website regularly for other reviews and to see what other sort of theater is coming up, so you can support these fabulous folks who commit so much in our great city. Thanks, guys.